Hello, I'm the CommanderZander's. I remembered so the Nostalgia Critic doesn't have to. And neither should you. The Super Bowl. It's one of the most popular, epic phenomenons in the history of sports. In the 1960s, Pete Rozelle, the commissioner of the then NFL, and Lamar Hunt, the commissioner of the then AFL, decided to merge the two leagues together to form an ultimate championship game to pit the best of the National Football League, now the NFC, against the best of the American Football League, now the AFC. They called it the Super Bowl, and you're not going to believe how they got that name. They named it after the Super Bouncy Ball. That's right. The Super Bowl is named after a bouncy ball. But it's had its great moments, and on that note, with the Super Bowl being less than a week away, I am going to give you my listing of the top 12 best Super Bowls. Why top 12? Because I like to one-up the Nostalgia Critic. So, sit back and relax and enjoy the top 12 best Super Bowls. Number 12, Super Bowl 44, Saints 31, Colts 17. You may refer to this one as the onside kick game. That's because the Saints started the second half of this one with an onside kick that they recovered. The momentum turned in their favor, and they took the lead into the fourth. Peyton Manning was driving the Colts for the tying touchdown until a pick six sealed the win for New Orleans' only Super Bowl, and it still is to this very day. Number 11, Super Bowl 25, Giants 20, Bills 19. This was a game that was mostly dominated by the Giants, but the Bills were able to stay in it, and they actually had a chance to win it at the end with a field goal attempt, but they pushed it to the right. It would be the first of 4 consecutive Super Bowl defeats for the Bills. They actually made the Super Bowl 4 years in a row. Could not win one. This was the closest they would get to a Super Bowl title. Number 10, Super Bowl 13. Steelers 35, Cowboys 31. I know some of you are thinking, wait a minute, why not Super Bowl 10 between those two? This one is a little bit more memorable and a little bit higher scoring for those who like high scoring. It's also known for one of the most infamous drop passes in the Super Bowl. Roger Staubach threw a perfectly thrown ball into the end zone. It was dropped and it ended up costing the Steelers the Super Bowl, or the Cowboys the Super Bowl, and the Steelers wound up winning as Dallas's comeback fell short. Number 9, Super Bowl 16, Niners 26, Bengals 21. This is the first of a few instances that the Niners make this list, but this is their first Super Bowl title that sparked the dynasty in the 80s. This game is remembered for the famous goal line stand that the 49ers pulled on the Bengals to keep them out of the end zone, and thus the Niners were able to win that game and prevail in the first of what would be 5 Super Bowl titles for the Niners. Number 8, Super Bowl 23, 49ers 20, Bengals 16. 7 years after their first meeting, the Niners and Bengals go at it again in the Super Bowl. This time, the Niners had to come back to win this one. It was a lot of Joe Montana to Jerry Rice on that drive, but it ended with a touchdown catch, not by Jerry Rice, but by Roger Taylor, to give the 49ers a 20-16 win over the Bengals, giving them their 3rd Super Bowl title. Number 7, Super Bowl 32, Broncos 31, Packers 24. The Packers came into this game as the defending Super Bowl champ, led by future Hall of Fame quarterback Brett Favre. Hall of Famer John Elway was still trying to win that elusive first Super Bowl title, and he finally got the job done. Some might say this game would be remembered for his helicopter move, but I remember it in the fact that Terrell Davis had a monster game, and this was a fun back-and-forth battle that Denver pulled out after Favre had a 4th down pass knocked down with the Packers threatening to tie it late. Denver finally wins the Super Bowl, and Elway finally gets his elusive crown. As they said, this one was for John. Number 6, Super Bowl 38, Patriots 32, Panthers 29. Patriots were going for their 2nd Super Bowl title in 3 years that year against the Carolina Panthers, who were a surprise champion of the NFC. 2 seasons before, Carolina had a 1-15 mark. They had lost 15 consecutive games. Now they find themselves in the biggest game ever. And the Panthers hung tough. First half was sluggish and low scoring, but then the offenses picked up in the second half. It turned into a true barn burner, and the game was ultimately decided on a kickoff going out of bounds allowing Brady to drive down the field, and allowing Vinatieri to be Mr. Clutch again in the Super Bowl, as the Pats won their second of what would be 3 titles in a 4-year span. Number 5, Super Bowl 47, Ravens 34, Niners 31. This would be the first and to date only Super Bowl loss for the 49ers. And this one had plenty of action. Not to mention it had Beyonce at halftime. But after a Jacoby Jones kickoff return for a touchdown opened up the second half, the lights in the Superdome went out. I don't know if the Superdome was impressed by the Beyonce halftime show or the Jacoby Jones kickoff return. But in any case, the lights went out. There was a delay. It turned the momentum in favor of the Niners, and they almost pulled off the comeback. But a no call, which some might say was good. If you're a Niners fan, you argue otherwise, cost the Niners, and it gives Baltimore its second Super Bowl title, making them the only team to go undefeated in the Super Bowl besides the New Orleans Saints. Number 4, Super Bowl 36, Patriots 20, Rams 17. I know, this one was a painful one for me, considering this was my first Super Bowl that I ever watched, and the Rams were my team because of Kurt Warner. The Patriots defense was stifling in that game, and the Rams had to pull off a frantic rally in the fourth quarter with 2 touchdowns to tie it, only to watch Tom Brady drive down the field, and Andy Vinatieri wins it at the gun for New England to give them their first Super Bowl title, denying the Rams a potential dynasty. The aftermath was that New England would be dominant for years to come and still are. In fact, they're in this year's Super Bowl. The Rams would not be in the Super Bowl again, and recently they have not been able to win either. Number 3, Super Bowl 43, Steelers 27, Cardinals 23. I know! We're showing Kurt Warner losing. It's painful to watch. This was another painful game for me, but don't worry, we'll get to the good one. But in this one, it was a great game with some memorable moments. For starters, with the Cardinals threatening to take the lead before halftime, Kurt Warner threw a 100-yard pick six to James Harrison. Completely turned the momentum around. But the Cardinals would come all the way back and actually took the lead. Unfortunately, they gave Big Ben Roethlisberger and the Steelers enough time to march down the field, and after a great catch by Santonio Holmes, the Steelers prevailed to win their 6th Super Bowl, the most by any team in the history of the NFL. Number 2, Super Bowl 42, Giants 17, Patriots 14. There wasn't really much into this one as far as scoring concerned. I mean, this was a low-scoring slugfest, but there was plenty at stake. New England was trying to become the second team to go undefeated, the first to pull off a 19-0 mark, and the Giants for just being the Giants. Patriots took the lead with a touchdown pass to Randy Moss from Brady to make it 14-10. The Giants came back after Eli Manning escaped what should have been a sack, throws the ball, and David Tyree made a great catch, was able to stick it into his helmet, and they ultimately got a touchdown pass from Eli Manning to Plexico Burress to deny the Patriots perfection, and the 72 Dolphins thus celebrated. And the number 1 best Super Bowl of all time is Super Bowl 34, Rams 23, Titans 16. You kind of figured I was going to make this one number 1 because of my bias for the Rams. But this one was a memorable one nonetheless. It started as a low-scoring slugfest with the Rams leading 9-0 on 3 Jeff Wilkins field goals, despite the fact that they dominated the first half. They then built their lead with a nice touchdown pass from Warner to Holt to get them a 16-0 lead. The Titans pull off a tremendous comeback led by Eddie George and Steve McNair to tie the score at 16 late in the ballgame. But then Kurt Warner threw what will be his best touchdown pass ever, 73 yards to Isaac Bruce for the go-ahead score. But the drama did not end there. Tennessee marched right back down the field and had a chance to tie it or maybe win it if they had gone for 2. McNair throws it to Kevin Dyson, caught it, and Mike Jones makes a sensational tackle to stop Dyson 1 yard short, and the Rams win their only Super Bowl. Talk about nail-biters. And so there you go. This was the top 12 best Super Bowls. If you didn't see one of your favorite Super Bowls on this list, feel free to comment on YouTube and let me know which Super Bowls you thought were the best. Hell, why not make your own list? It could be a top 10, it could be a top 11, it could be a top 12, it could be all the Super Bowls in order. I don't care. Just feel free to post which Super Bowls you thought were the best on YouTube and let me know. And enjoy the Super Bowl. Whether you're a Pats fan or a Seahawks fan, you are witnessing one of the greatest spectacles in modern sports. I'm the Commander Zander. I remembered, so the Nostalgia Critic doesn't have to, and neither should you!